Bungie's Marathon. All of us cut our teeth on Bungie games where we learned to become gamers, learned how to play shooters. We all played Destiny. We all played Destiny 2. We've all played all the Halos. We have our gamer cards and we have their credentials to back it up when it comes to Bungie. It's a company that we truly love. Now, granted, this isn't the same Bungie that made a lot of those games. It's some key players are still there, so we can never forget that. We've talked about that before with with groups such as BioWare and Bethesda to a certain extent, but. So talking about Bungie and Marathon, I think there's a lot to be said here. I believe I've played the most between the three of us just because I had finished RE9 before you guys and have jumped in a little bit more, done a lot of solo runs, a lot of teams of randos, so some trios of randos, and then doing some rook runs. Well, first we'll tell the audience, which I'm sure everyone kind of knows, what Marathon is. Marathon is a hero extraction shooter with Destiny-esque raid elements in certain parts of certain maps. And that's, you get to choose between different shells is what they're called. And there's multiple ones: Triage, Destroyer, Recon, Assassin, Thief, Endel, and Rook is your solo only that goes in like halfway through the runs. You jump into different maps. It kind of follows anyone that played Arc Raiders. It's an extraction shooter. It's high risk, high reward. You go in with loadouts. You could be like us sometimes, go 4 matches in a row, dominate everybody, get out, get X-filled, or what happened to us the last time when the three of us played together. We take out one team, take out half another team, bots start attacking us, another team takes advantage, takes us out. We almost got them. Let's not forget. We almost got them.
Yeah.
But that's what you're kind of getting with this game. And I'm going to go. You guys stop me whenever. What I'm seeing with Marathon is people are pulling up Steam numbers like that and everything like that. And I decided to pull that up right now as we were talking. And right now we have 55,000 players in right now with a 60,000 24-hour peak, 88,000 all time. What shows numbers, obviously, they would want them to be higher. You'd obviously want those clearing six figures for sure. But I think they've been steady since the game came out. And Nick, I know you're better at picking up research and checking throughout. But I mean, from what I understand, they're not like astronomical numbers, but they're pretty consistent numbers since the game is released. And for me, what I'm noticing is there is a hard barrier to entry when it comes to this game. Because what I'm noticing is some people are like thinking of it as like an arena shooter. And like, you're like, well, we don't fight enough. It's boring. It can get boring. I was like, or they're treating it more like a battle royal or something, like running around and looking for fights and looking for things like that. And in this game, it's like it harkens back to what this game is. It's an extraction shooter. You want to fight, but you gotta be smart about how you fight. Like, hey, let's take out these bots with knives. It's quieter. This team we just took out, we're kind of hurting from we're low on ammo, we're low on healing items. There's another team coming. Maybe we back up and go rethink our strategy, go loot a bit, maybe come back for them when they least expect us, get the jump on them. And I think that's where the game shines. Like Nick had originally told me he wasn't having fun as a solo thing, but then he took a different approach. And like I said, I think the solo is like a survival horror game because it's such you're going in there with a kit if you decide not to use a free one, and you're going to lose that stuff if you die. But there's also a chance for me. I had one of my best runs. I got the jump on someone that was just absolutely stacked out of his mind with healing items, blue backpacks, purple shield. I was like, what is happening here? And got all this stuff. But I got the jump on him because he didn't see me. I caught him with a grenade, caught him with a drone, took him down. So for me personally, I'm really enjoying the game. I've seen a lot of the reviews. I think 7, 8 out of 10. You can kind of jump between the two. I think that it's how you approach a game. And what I don't like is when I hear some of the discourse, I see certain things where people are just wanting to hate it. And again, I don't care if people like it or not. That's not my prerogative. But I also think you got to look at it from what it is. It isn't an arena shooter. It isn't Halo or Destiny. It is what it is. It's an extraction shooter, and it's fun to play because it's shooting is fun. It's like it's Bungie shooting. You can feel it when the moment you pull a trigger. Last week, and it is a highly aggressive. And one of our one thing I did mention is that there are no friends in Marathon. There aren't. Only your crew. And I made that very clear because I made the worst mistake of letting a rook live, told him to go away. And he came back and got us when we least expected, when we were all hurt and injured. From that point on, right before I extracted last time with the randos, I saw a rook, and before the exfil went, I ran out, killed the rook, ran back to the exfil. Didn't even loot his body. just to send the message. Like there's no more friends. I do not care. I'm going for you and I'm going for your loot because that game has proven it's not Arc Raiders. There's not going to be fun singing kumbaya moments. It's like, no, we're scrapping. And that's what it is. Like, it was funny. Like, I played with this one group, and dude, we fought one team, dying, reviving back and forth, fought another team that jumped into it. They're fighting each other. We're fighting. Everyone's fighting each other. We come up on top. We have to go try to revive our one guy, and he's surrounded by the big bots with the shields. We have to be tactful. That takes us about like 3 minutes to finally take those things down, get him. And we had not talked on the mic at all the entire match, and we all hopped on the mic. And I just said, well, that was a fun scrap, wasn't it? And everyone just starts laughing. It's like, yeah, dude, we only died a couple times, like it was just, and we just got to like sit there and like, joke around and have and like, that's what PvP is all about. You know what I mean? Now, I get that this does isolate a lot of people. You are going into a specific genre. I don't know if this was the right move for Bungie to go this route. It's a game I'm truly enjoying. I see the numbers are, like you said, they've been relatively steady. Obviously, you would want them to be higher, but it's not an end all be all. We don't know all the total sales or anything right now, but they did. And then I'll leave it up and I'll pass it on to you guys. But they did just do a patch update. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see this. Just a few things. I'll read these off. They increased the starting ammo for free kits, nerfed the UESC robot guards to reduce early frustration. And then they like increased the for quest. It was like 10 meters. Now it's 20 meters. So you can kind of see where you're going a little bit closer now, which is nice. They did nerf the thermal scopes because they were ridiculous. Those thermal scopes were absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. So boys, if you want to ask me questions, pick apart, I want your thoughts as well. For me, right now, I'm really enjoying it. I'm excited for this new map, this new raid map to release, the Marathon Cairo Archives. I know there's a whole group right now figuring out the puzzles, figuring out what's going to happen, figuring out how to unlock this thing. So I think that's really where the game's going to shine. And again, I don't know how I feel about them holding back reviews until that comes out. I feel like that it's like they were saying that it harkened it back to the Destiny Taken King time frame where like everyone kind of hated on Destiny till Taken King came out, that everyone loved Destiny. So they kind of been through the show before. So we'll see. As of right now, like you have your 3 maps, you have Perimeter, you have the Marsh, and then you have Outpost. Outpost is very PvP heavy that's the one in the center of it, the pinwheels, like adding a little bit of Destiny raid mechanics in it, which is pretty fun. And, trying to do that while competing with other teams is frustrating, but also a ton of fun and rewarding if you get through it all and get out of there. So, but yeah, so whoever wants to go first, let it rip. But yeah, that's kind of my high level thoughts now.
Yeah, I think unfortunately it's only going to hurt them. People are impatient these days. We live in this world where it's people quickly look, what's the online review? It didn't score that high. I'm not going to waste my time because there's so many other games to play. The ratings have become everything. And then, of course, it's like, what are the streamers playing? What is everybody watching? And of course, a lot of these posts, you don't know how true they are. Well, it's just clickbait, things like that. But I did see one thing that was talking about the Burnt Peanut was saying he was just going to play Marathon like in his private time. Like he wasn't going to stream it because everyone was just being so negative.
Yeah.
In the comments. And I'm worried that Marathon's going to get that treatment, the high guard treatment, I guess we could start to call it, where the internet kind of just teams up on this game. I know it's gotten on, better than high guard. It's been more in the mixed category, but I'm willing to give it more time because of what you told me with the third map being the best and knowing that they have a raid coming. But I think the average gamer, the person, the people we used to be working 40 hours a week. Oh, I'm going to check out this new game Marathon, and not knowing that there's a raid coming, not knowing all these other things, they might just kind of jump over to another shooter just because it's a little foreign in the beginning. I realized, okay, I could take 10 minutes. I could read these descriptions. I found myself becoming a little programmed, a little impatient to where it's like, wait, I don't even know what these items are. But then I was like, you know what? Why would I know immediately? Like, why don't I take a second to read them and learn about this game? So you definitely have to give it some time. I just think that people might not be willing to take that time, especially if they don't have like set friends to play with.
And that's the one thing I can jump onto is even when I do trios of like random people, it's been good experiences. It's rare that you get like a bad one. Like I had one like guy that was just upset the entire time he was playing and kind of like whining the whole time. Like, dude, like if you don't like the game that much, man, just hop off, dude. But
Yeah,
I do again, I don't think it's the best game ever made by any means. I think it's a fun shooter and I'm enjoying it and I like the extraction shooter gameplay loop. And that's where like I want to remind people like they never like hid what this game was. You know, they said it was going to be an extraction shooter. This is what this game is, and I think that that's where people are like, well, this, that, and the other, and like hating like if you defend it or not. Like I'm not defending it because it's Marathon or it's Bungie. I'm defending it because I like the game. I think it's worth people's times if they want to invest in another live service, which is, I think, the bigger talking point here. There's so many options out there, and we're even seeing ones that were super successful, such as Battlefield, start losing their luster, and players are dropping off and looking for something new. I think it's gonna be up to Bungie and Marathon to decide how they're going to retain these people and retain these players. And like for me, I'm enjoying it because the time you put in, the time you take to learn the game, it is rewarding. Like you kind of you realize what these all these people were like, oh, what's all this random stuff do? I was like, well, you can trade this in for ammo, you can trade this in for med packs, you can use this to upgrade this and that and the other. You know what I mean? Like if you look at it and pay attention to it and track things that you need to upgrade and like I'll say always prioritize vault space. Like keep finding those things and keep making that vault space go up because that you know it packs full. And I think it's very generous with what all the free stuff it gives you, even if you get wiped out on a map. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you got to decide
yeah,
what you're going to keep, what you're not going to keep. And so for that perspective, I think it's really nice. And like the even the free kits getting a little ammo bump is nice. And the bots not being so intense because at one point they are a little too intense, like especially if like you're by yourself on like a solo run, like they're just as hard as they are if you're in trios. So imagine that with two other people not having your back, and it's like learning the tricks of the trade. Like I guess there's a new drone meta where like you can utilize the thief's drone and add like basically turn it into the drone from Red Sec where it basically bombs teams and stuff. We gotta try to figure that out and start using it before they nerf it.
yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like I
There's a
think the
lot more to
aesthetic.
uncover.
Yeah, and I think aesthetically, it's really I like the aesthetic of it. I think the worlds are pretty cool. I think the characters are, yeah, not my cup of tea, like the designs of them, but like they're cool in their own right. Like I play as the Recon a lot. I like it. Kind of looks like the Chinese stealth armor from Fallout games. The
Mm,
destroyer is basically just a Titan pulled out of Destiny. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I mean, all in all, like I think we have a solid, a solid PvP shooter with some PvE elements in there. I'm excited to for you to jump in the outpost and kind of get a taste of the raid stuff they have in there, and then us going fully into that raid and trying to figure it out as a squad while also realizing that, like I'll say it again, I think that should be their shirt. There's no friends in Marathon, man. Like we're gonna all roll in there. No one's gonna want to work together. And I think maybe this raid is like one of those moments where the game forces us all to come together as like this big unit. That's like, okay, the only way we're gonna win this thing is if we all stop trying to kill each other and we focus on the mission at hand. So that'll be kind of a cool moment if it makes everyone kind of meld together and do that. So but
yeah,
again, Dave, I know that you're still kind of wanting to you basically just gotten your feet wet and a little skeptic of it right now, but I think that
yeah. I've got more to play before I give a personal rating.
yeah, that and I appreciate that about like you weren't just like you said I'm going to give it some more time. It is Bungie, give it that, that worth just because how much Bungie means to you, but I think that we'll have to see him like while we're waiting for Nick to come back for give his thoughts before we wrap this whole thing up, but do you think that Marathon has long-term legs or are you going to wait to see how this raid plays out before you kind of make that call?
And I think it's tough now to break into the space and take that long term category because we've talked about it on the show. Some of these games, I mean, people are still on World of Warcraft, people are still on Fortnite. It's now every new game that comes out needs to peel people away from those big titles. Ugh. Something like Resident Evil can be so successful because it's like the gaming community took a break for a weekend and it's
Yeah.
like, let's all go get scared. Let's go shoot some zombies. And then it's over. But these games are jumping in now where it's like, oh, a season pass, a battle pass, and something. It's like, it's hard. It's hard for people. I mean, Call of Duty community is huge. all these other games that take up so much of your time. I mean, like you talked about earlier, Battlefield, best-selling game of 2025, and people are not even going to do the season 2 battle pass. It's over.
Yeah.
Like, it's very difficult for a new game to jump in and take over this long-term attention.
Yeah,
And
besides
I don't
though
think
to your
Marathon's going to make it.
when we did the campfire special, I remember you talking about, like, the frustration with Battlefield just not releasing a full game and, like, wanting to piecemeal it, and to your point, like, they tried
Uh,
the typical piecemeal battle pass live service strategy, and it's backfiring. Who knows what happened if they would've released a full game with all these different,
Yeah,
like, the
just a huge game for $70. You got all this stuff. And then, yeah, they could throw in the battle pass and
well, yeah, keep using the battle passes, but you have all this great shit that you can keep playing. When you get tired of this, now you can jump over to, Land the Sea and all that different stuff.
yeah.
I don't know, like, I think only Fortnite's really figured it out, but I think they're just so massive now. They're, like, at the point where they're too massive to fail, it seems like, but
Right.
yeah,
And Marathon dropping in 2026, I don't know. If it's 10 years ago, this could be a huge but I feel like it now. It's how many extraction shooters are out there? Not as many as the battle royales, but in terms of live service, are you going to play this game for a year? As like
Mhm.
Destiny 1 and 2 pulled people in for years and years, but I don't think Marathon's going to have that same effect.
No, I have to agree with you because even as much as I loved Arc Raiders, which was probably the biggest extraction shooter, Tarkov is like what Tarkov is. I'm not like too versed in that one, but I know that Arc Raiders has probably got the largest mass appeal of any of those games. It kind of made like all
Yeah.
these streamers famous again and got them all back into like the views and having fun and stuff. But I dropped off of that probably after a month, maybe 2 months. So maybe I'm just not the full target audience, but I will say this in my time with Marathon, I'm having more fun than I was having in Arc Raiders just because it's more my type of shooter comparatively to a third person. But Nick, Dave, and I have been like jumping back and forth
Yeah,
with a
sorry,
bunch of
fellas.
things. No, you're fine, man. I just want to hear your let's go ahead and give us your high level thoughts on
Yeah.
Marathon. Everything we've discussed, you and I kind of talked about the other day when you shot me a call and I just kind of went off and you were like, "Hey, wait."
Yeah, yeah. All right, it's sitting at a 75 on Open Critic. I flashed that earlier. I agree with that, right? Initially, I'll tell you, I went into it with really low expectation. I kind of saw the original postings when I counterpicked it was one of the reasons I counterpicked it because I was like, what are they doing with this? And this is not going to work. Well, it actually had worked a lot better than I thought it would. It's fun. It's got its highs. It's got its lows, right? When we were running and gunning that one map as a squad, it was fantastic. It was just fun, right? We're hitting it. I think what it could do better is, yes, when I played solo, and this will make sense, but when I played solo, I was kind of still playing that play style of trying to run and gun, get some good kills, and get geared up that way. Not how to play it. You told me you played it like a survival horror. That's what I did. Much better experience. Had a lot more fun. It was very tactical. Who I shot, when I shot, if I shot, and really focused on my faction missions. So it was almost kind of like a different game. Maybe it's intended game that way. As a squad, though, and I think we saw both sides of the coin, you have really pumped up matches and you have really slow matches, right? To where it's like when you're fully squatted up, you kind of want to at least get into one scrap during the match, right? So it kind of makes you want to seek that out. What I think Marathon's biggest downfall is going to be, and do I think it's going to survive? I don't know. And the reason I say that is because the barrier to entry or the people playing it, and nothing to do with, people saying it's Concord. It's not that. It's definitely its own thing and it's fun as its own thing. But it is hard it's a lot of stuff in your face all at once, and it put a lot of people off. And my worry is I'd say I'm curious to see this weekend what the counts go back to, how many more players jump back in, because realistically, any game's numbers are going to decline during the work week and go back up during the weekend. However, when you look at Arc Raiders we're just using Steam database because people are talking about it. Their all-time peak when it popped was 481,000 players. So a big player base. And I think when we looked at Marathon, it's 88. So you didn't have a lot of people really giving it the time of day when it dropped. The numbers are trending down. They might pop back up over the weekend, but if people get in there and they kind of got off put by the UI, by the things that popped out at them, they didn't want to give the time to learn the different pieces. They didn't really get involved in the faction missions. They played a couple rounds and they wrote it off. That's what's going to kill the game. Is if it starts losing heavy player count, that kills any live service game, right? You don't have a sustainable matchmaking.
We just saw it with High Guard. You know, all these people jumped in the first weekend because it was all the news, and then nobody came back for weekend 2. And now I'm not saying Marathon's gonna go down like that,
right?
But I think you're bringing up a really good point. It's like everyone jumps in weekend 1. Let's see what happens weekend 2 now. Are people going to go do Resident Evil Insanity like I'm probably going to do? Or are they going to jump back into Marathon?
Right. And there's other games dropping and Crimson Desert's on the horizon. So what will that do to the player count of the single player base?
Next week.
You know, another thing with Marathon as well is I'm kind of frustrated that Bungie did this thing with the reviews. Like I said, fantasy picks aside, look, if you don't want people to review your game in the state it's in, then wait a month and drop it. That's my honest thoughts, right? I mean, people are going to, and as we saw in Open Critics, some critics are already gone ahead and doing it, right? And they should, because the game is released, right? If you wanted to say, I don't want you to judge my product until it's finished, then don't release it until it's finished. I mean, if it really only took an extra month for you to get this raid in here, then just wait. So that's just kind of, a personal thing that I was like, why'd they have to, put this message out? And that just reignited a lot of the haters, I think. I'm excited for the raid. I think that will be cool. I think it's going to be kind of tough. It's really going to count on how they develop that. If they go like the full Destiny raid mechanics where you have to be on the ball and communicating with your team and fighting off other players, it's going to be pretty extreme. You know what I mean? And I think that's going to I hope they don't go that route, because that's also going to silo a lot of players that solo players, like what I hope they don't do is firewall it, for lack of a better term, for the solo players out there to say, you need a team to do this. You need a team that's on point. And maybe one of your buddies just, barely plays or something. And then, you can't even do end game content unless you have a squad that's like dedicated to Marathon, like Destiny.
It's tough. That's tough because there is so many find a group features and things out there with Discords, and even Xbox has one on its homes. And so it's like, I do see the reward, because that takes me back to OG Bungie with Halo, where there was a reward with having friends to do that 4-player legendary, or some of those Vidmaster achievements. I think you should, not everything should be able to be played solo. Like,
but when you have 88,000 players and you're going downhill, I mean, just initially, not saying it's going downhill, it's trending slightly down, and we'll see after this weekend. But if you're already kind of doing that, I think for the sake of trying to make the game, the longevity, at least the first raid have a low barrier of entry. And start dropping some crazy ones after that if you want to, and people are popping in and they're loving it. But if they go balls to the wall the first raid, they're going to hit what they hit with the original player base that said, this is too much, and back off. You're going to hit the rest of the solo players with that and be like, all right, well, I can't even do end game content.
No, I think you bring a great point up. I think that's why they have that fill crew mechanic. But to your point, like, some people just don't want to do that. They don't want to engage with that. They want to play the game their way. But to Dave's point, I think that's not the Bungie way. Like, even a solo player in Destiny couldn't go do a raid by himself. You know what I mean? So I think, unfortunately, that's what you're going to get with this. And I think because before you got back, Dave and I were just talking about that, where it's going to be what you said. It's going to be probably heavy Destiny raid mechanics. You're going to be fighting off other teams. And it'll be really cool if after like a few days, everyone realizes, oh, the only way we can make this work is if we all work together, like a full team, like a full run with how many teams load into that. Like, that's the secret.
Yeah.
Like, everyone has to work together. So everyone has to chill. But then you gotta go back to that Arc Raiders edge. Is like, will someone just get an itchy trigger finger?
And they will.
Then,
and that's what's going to be the rub. Or it's like, all right, I'm gonna go loot the boss, and you get sniped in the back.
And that part, I kind of like that idea where it's like we all get to the very end, we finish it, and then
You
it's
just turn on each other.
and then everyone just scrapping, and then like, because you'd be pissed if you lost, but if you end up winning and like you're the last team standing, that endorphin hit you'll get, just like,
Yeah.
not only am I going to loot this boss, but I'm going to pick through every one of you, and I'm sure you guys brought your best stuff.
Yeah, but talk about a high and talk about a low. You imagine doing a 2-hour raid and you get knifed in the back. My controller would be in 3 pieces.